let's get to this Nathaniel Hackett stuff right here. First of all, I'm not surprised by his comments. What could he say after the job that he did last year in Denver? Let's just call it what it is. And when you look at Nathaniel Hackett, I mean, the job that he did in Denver was so bad, he's lucky to have a job in the NFL this year. Usually when you do something, when you perform that horrendously, you don't have a job within a nanosecond once you get fired as a head coach in the National Football League. I think that and I've reiterated this before and I'll say it again because to me, I'm so tired of talking about Nathaniel Hackett because I didn't feel he deserved the job to begin with in Denver. He got the job because they thought they had a shot at Aaron Rodgers. That Aaron Rodgers helped him get that job by teasing that he would consider Denver. That didn't end up happening. Then he goes to Denver and shows that he's completely in over his head as a head coach, and it was embarrassing. Sean Payton was wrong. Sean Payton, on its face, should not have done what he did. We get all of that. The thing that I've been saying, everybody, doggy, and I said to Dan yesterday and I said last week to Ryan Clark and others, Sean Payton's been associated with the National Football League for over 40 years. He never did it. Why would he do it now? Think about that. This is not his first rodeo. He's a head coach in New Orleans for 15 years. This is a man that got suspended for the year by the NFL because of Bountygate. I mean, there's dirt on his hands throughout his career. He has never, ever done that before. Why now? Is it possible that some stuff happened with Nathaniel Hackett in Denver, or even how he got that job, that rubbed the NFL coaching fraternity the wrong way? Nobody's thinking about that. It's real easy to say that Sean Payton is wrong. There's no doubt about it. He was wrong. He should not have done that on its face. But if you've been associated with a league for 40 years and there is a code, written or unwritten, and it is universally understood, particularly within the coaching fraternity and beyond, there's just certain things you don't do. And this man has walked around for over 4 decades and never violated it. Why now? Nobody's asking that question. So my question to Nathaniel Hackett, I get everybody, what was your reaction to Sean Payton? You know what Stephen A's question would have been if I was at that damn press conference? Sir, is there anything that you think you have done that would ignite or spark that kind of reaction from your successor? Because it makes no sense. He's never done it before. No coach has ever done that before. Why would this man do that to you? I would have asked that question.
Yeah. Okay, I might be in the newsroom, Stephen A., but respectfully, I'll debate you anywhere. And coming off of that, I need you to explain a little bit more to me what you mean by how he got hired with that job. I mean, Nathaniel Hackett is an offensive coordinator with Jacksonville that took Blake Bortles and the Jaguars to the AFC title game. Mm-hmm. He led Green Bay as an offensive coordinator to 2 NFC championship games and Rodgers to 2 MVPs. Oh, well, I want... Two different situations.
It's true. It's
true.
I
want you to explain that to me a little bit.
All right, real quick. All I'm saying is this. The Denver Broncos at the time, the new ownership had come in August or what have you. The Denver Broncos at that time were teasing about they were supposed to be in the talks for Aaron Rodgers. And there reportedly was interest in Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers being potentially interested in going to Green Bay. At that particular moment in time is when Nathaniel Hackett landed the head coaching job. And there was speculation, albeit just speculation, because I don't cover the team.
Sure.
I didn't know. I'm just talking about what I read and what they were saying that Nathaniel Hackett landing in Denver gave the Denver Broncos a better shot at getting Aaron Rodgers.
I understand you. Okay, that's a fair point, fair correlation. Listen, when it comes to Nathaniel Hackett's comments of yesterday, number one, he didn't need to say anything his quarterback did last week or over the weekend. When his quarterback made it very clear of, hey, Nathaniel Hackett means a lot to me and keep my coaches, not just Hackett, keep my coach's name, multiple guys out of your mouth. I think Aaron Rodgers said enough. I think number two, Nathaniel Hackett knows these teams are going to play each other. And he's been around the NFL long enough to realize, and as Sean Payton, long enough to realize that Week 5 game is going to have a lot of energy around it because of Sean Payton. He also knows that they have the better team. He doesn't need to go up there and chatter a little bit because he knows that his football team or the team that he coaches in New York is a better football team. I was disappointed in Sean Payton's comments, and I got a boatload of respect for him, and he's earned a lot of it. I'm even more disappointed that Hackett referenced yesterday that Sean Payton hasn't called him yet. I think we can all agree that maybe Sean Payton's comments and he regrets them or shouldn't have said them, but you also should then pick up the phone and make a phone call and say, hey, man to man, like, my apologies. I shouldn't have said it.
I didn't hear Sean Payton say he regretted it, though. I didn't hear him say he regretted it, though. I didn't hear him apologize. Did he say that?
Sean Payton came out publicly and said, like, shouldn't have said what I said, all that, in the moment. Might have had the Fox hat on still. So I think he still should call Sean Payton, call Nathaniel Hackett. And the last thing, and I think this boded Hackett well yesterday, was he's grown up in the NFL. He was the son of a coach. I think he's learned a lot through that process. There's also the reality, Stephen A., Mad Dog, he's going to make $80,000 a week for the next 3 years at the Denver Broncos, or from the Denver Broncos. So I credit him for not kind of make it more noisier than it has, or kind of more of an issue than it was over the weekend, and moving on. So I think Hackett handled it the right way.
But Payton had one motivation here. He's trying to make people think that last year's problems were not Russell Wilson's problems, were Nathaniel Hackett's problems. He says it early in camp. He wants Russell Wilson to get off to a really good start. He wants Russell Wilson psychologically to think, Russ, I'm here now. You got a big-time head coach. I've won a Super Bowl. We together are going to turn last season around and have a very good 2023. So he's trying to let everybody in Denver know, and his quarterback, with a pat on the back, clean slate, new start. Last year wasn't all your fault. We had a lot of issues. You were not coached well. And so as a result here, let's move and let's go forward. I think that was his motivation. Should he have said it? No. He could have said it privately. Did he have to make a big deal about it publicly? No. But the idea that, we got to be fair. Nathaniel Hackett, he was awful. And you can bring up Blake Bortles all you want. I could coach Rodgers, okay? You want me to be the offensive coordinator of the Rodgers? I'll figure it out. He's that good.
Hold on,
No. Sometimes coaching gets a little overrated. Think about it. How many championships, how many playoff games has Bill Belichick won without Brady in New England? Zero. You need the quarterback. Need the quarterback.
Okay, Mad Dog. This is both of you guys are a little bit talking out of your mouth right now. So let me ask you this. What are your thoughts on Mike McCarthy? Because I remember last week watching you on this show and you going off about in a not glowing fashion about. So don't say anybody. Then don't say you could coach Aaron Rodgers, because if Mike McCarthy,
absolutely.
No, I mean Mike McCarthy was fired because people believed in Green Bay he couldn't coach Rodgers anymore. And Matt LaFleur comes in with Nathaniel Hackett. He wins back-to-back MVPs.
He won a Super Bowl in Green Bay. Now come on.
He won back-to-back MVPs after Mike McCarthy left under Nathaniel Hackett.
If you have a quarterback, you will win in the NFL.
Let's see how it goes in Denver this year. Let's see how it goes. Obviously, but let's see how it goes in Denver this year to totally bury Nathaniel Hackett in Denver. I expected it to be better as well. How come? My question is this. So I remember years ago, and Stephen A., you know this because I was on with you. Molly, you know it as well. Mad Dog, you weren't on yet. I remember when the Eagles drafted Jalen Hurts, and I was like, I don't love it because of the psyche that it could have impact-wise on Carson Wentz. And everyone crushed me because they were like, if you're not mature enough or mentally tough enough as a starting quarterback in the NFL to handle some of this stuff, maybe you're not capable of being a starting quarterback in the NFL. So then how is it okay in this situation for us to justify or use it as a reason to why Sean Payton might have said what he said, saying, well, now he wants Russell Wilson to know that he's there with them. Is this not a lateral situation in some ways?
Russell Wilson should be bigger than that. You're right. Russell Wilson should be bigger. Should be able to handle it. I agree. But this is what this was about.
Dan Orlovsky, first of all, nobody is talking out of both sides of anything. We're simply pointing out what happened. When I brought up Sean Payton and I said, why would he say something like this? Let me remind you, in February when he was introduced as the new head coach for the Denver Broncos, one of the first people he undressed publicly was Russell Wilson. Remember, Russell Wilson had his own coaches. And I'm reading from here because I wanted the specifics, all right? They're talking about Russell Wilson, a massage therapist and his own quarterback's guy,
Right.
personal trainer, physical therapist, a stretch master, a massage therapist, a chef, all of that other stuff. And Sean Payton was like, that's foreign to me. That's not going to take place here. Those days are over. What I'm saying to you, is it possible that when he's talking about Nathaniel Hackett, it ain't just X's and O's. It's not just a 5-12 record. It's the culture that existed in the building that is antithetical to anything that NFL coaches preach about and live by for decades. You don't have a quarterback. Tom Brady's a 7-time Super Bowl champion. He didn't have all of that stuff in New England and Tampa. Drew Brees is going to the Hall of Fame. He damn sure didn't have that in New Orleans. We see Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. That's not the case. You look at Dan Marino back in the day. That didn't happen. You look at a plethora of star quarterbacks throughout the NFL in history. It's never happened. And you got a guy that had a me-first reputation coming out of Seattle where the guys on the defensive side of the ball didn't feel that the same level of accountability accorded to them was accorded to Russell Wilson. You come to Denver and all of this stuff is happening to the point where players turned against him. You had one defensive lineman got in Russell Wilson's face. His boy got traded in favor of Russell Wilson. He didn't like it. There was a story about that. And you had players who had turned against him. I'm not throwing shade on Russell Wilson. I'm just pointing out facts here based on what's been reported. At the end of the day, Dan Orlovsky, if you are Sean Payton and you have been associated with the NFL for decades and you see this kind of treatment accorded to one player and he's soaking it all up, okay, Sean Payton said that ain't going to happen. First, he addressed Russell in February. And then publicly, he went to Nathaniel Hackett because it's possible that he's saying, this is the kind of nonsense that you let happen that goes against everything that the coaching fraternity and NFL organizations have been about for decades. How dare you? I'm saying that is entirely plausible. That's his beef with Nathaniel Hackett. Should he have been public with it? Fine. He should not have.
Fair point.
He shouldn't have handled it that way. But we're acting like, oh, this guy just had a 5-12 record, and that's why Sean Payton called him out. I don't think that's the case. I think Sean Payton looks at him as somebody who violated the tenets of the coaching fraternity in the National Football League.
Not bad.
Dan, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Is that unheard of for a player to have like a personal masseuse or PT working on
Like
them?
multiple members, though. Like
No.
And have
I
their
think-
personal people?
I've been around guys who have it like someone come to their home consistently, the same person. I've never been around someone that has it, in the building in their own way, their own locker, their own area, their own office, their own space. I've never been around that. So I think that is abnormal. Stephen A., that's a good point. I agree with that.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.